do.
Let me catch. You ready?
Let me bone.
Solomon ancestor. Yo,
What's up, son?
what's up, kid? What's going on, kid?
Yo, man, I'm just doing my thing, man. Hold up, man. I'm chilling out this man. Yo, 2 for 5 over here, man. 2 up there, man. You know how we be working, man.
Cash moves everything around me. Queen get the money, dollar bill, yo.
I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no job. Had second hands.
This is the real issue. It's the fact that it says Trump 2020. So for anyone who supports Trump, this is my opinion, for them to do that, you are in a position of authority.
You're working in an official capacity.
Yeah, in official capacity. So here it is. You're saying, I am an official with some authority, with some power, and I'm a Trump supporter. Put it all together. We win. All we do is win. He's got DJ Khaled playing through his mind, maybe with like a old town Lil Nas X remix or something like that. But bottom line, he's only exercising his dominance.
But I ain't give you the backstory though. You know what I'm saying? I ain't give you the backstory to where back in February, he was officiating a game and he gave the coach 2 quick texts, right? 2 quick ones. Like, bow. Yes, the coach was black. You know what I'm saying?
I'm the boss of you, buddy.
Yeah, so, and not only that did he give the coach a tech, but after he proceeds to keep it going by recommending that the coach gets suspended for 2 games.
Whoa. Hold on, he's endorsing a suspension. He's endorsing an act like to remove this coach from coaching?
Yeah, for 2 games after that.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
And so, somehow, some way that gets upheld. And here's the thing, though. Here's the thing about old boy, right? Not only did he not leave it there or whatever, he put a Facebook post out talking about how he had to eject some woman that didn't want to play. And then in the same thing, he was referring to another woman. He used the N-word.
Not the N-word. No.
He used the N-word in the Facebook post.
Pledge, wait a minute now. No, don't get me wrong now. See, now, I have no problem, addressing it. But you telling me a referee coaching a girls' basketball game,
officiating a girls'
basketball game, used the N-word?
In a Facebook post.
No.
Yeah.
He put it on wax.
No.
It's out there in the universe forever.
No,
everybody out there in TV land. You know what I mean? Your boy was so brazen, so bold, so white. Right in his thinking that he said he had to put the N-word on Facebook.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Now
that's a permanent spear, though. It cannot be erased. You can delete it and we can still pull it up.
It's screenshot. I mean, it's been spread.
Permanently. It's
been spread.
Even if nobody got a screenshot of it, we could have still pulled it up.
So dude has to flex. So he has to flex via girls basketball? You know what I'm saying? So, come on, like, here's my thing. Every man feels like they need to rock their crown somehow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the thing is, and we know this. If you're a Trump supporter, I'm not hating on you. This is what I am hating on. If your Trump support made you arrogant, cocky, and gave you the sense that I am the dominant and I got a right to poop on you, that's the issue here.
Yeah.
And so for him to come with the Trump shirt means that I'm a part of that group, right? And then outside of that Trump shirt, you're just an asshole. That's it.
Yeah.
Outside of the Trump shirt, you're an asshole.
Hold on. Because I ain't start recording as soon as the story started going. So we're at a public space, the University of South Florida, completely public.
Go Bulls.
They're having a tournament. Was it like statewide high school tournament?
Yeah, it was a statewide high school tournament.
Right.
It's a USF team
and
camp
this
tournament.
dude is he's a contracted referee.
Yes.
Come in to do his thing in a public forum.
Contracted.
You know what I'm saying?
Working in an official capacity.
Right. Come in and represent some company somewhere. We need to find out who the company is. We gotta get
Let's check the Mueller report.
Yeah, we got to get him. We want to get the company too, because this jerk needs to be fired. I want to curse so bad, but my mama might be listening.
Well, let me give y'all the story of what happened today, right?
Wait. Oh, go ahead.
So let me give y'all the story of what happened today, right? So this what happened in February, right? After there was an investigation into the guy, he was suspended for I don't know how many months or whatever, but there was a suspension of the guy. And from what I understand today, after talking to some powers that be today, is that he went before the board, and they said, hey, we're going to bring you back. but you need to clean this kind of behavior up. Make sure this doesn't happen again.
Where have I heard this one before? Continue.
And so today, oh boy, the same coach that he teed up a couple of back in February, he walks in the gym, act like he doesn't know the coach. So, hey, where are you guys from? What's the name of your team?
Wait. Where did he say that though? Did he like say it at the gym entrance?
No, he said it when the coaches was sitting down on the bench, and he
went to the coach face.
He went to the coach. Well, the coach was sitting down, and he was standing up. It's like, hey, where are you guys from?
Wait, you didn't tell me that. So the coach was seated.
I mean, that's an act of something too.
Right. No, we ain't finna say something. We finna get right into it. God damn it, motherfucker.
I'll tell you what it is. Go ahead, bro.
Hey, so the coach walk up, put his nuts all in somebody's face. That's disrespectful, dog. Because we playing basketball, football, and I'm on my knee trying to get up from a play, and you put your nuts in my face, talking about, let me help you up. It's gonna be some blows thrown.
And on top of that, the fact that you're coming to me now, and you've literally officiated with me before. We've had our run-in, and for you to say, where are you from? You're belittling me. Because guess what? I just look like another N-word. At that point,
well, guess what that's
I
called?
might believe that he did say the N-word at this point now.
That's what it's called. 2 episodes ago, episode 5, that's considered a microaggression.
A microaggression.
That
hey, who are you, buddy?
That's
you remember the last time you took me down?
Okay. He's like, oh, first and foremost, I'm finna come over here and flex my muscle. 2, I'm coming straight to you to be like, yeah, you thought you got rid of me. Bitch, I'm back. What's up? That's basically what he said.
And 3, you ain't important because guess what? I don't even remember
you. Go.
You are a lookalike. You look like the last person I almost put out the game.
Nah, I don't even respect you enough to know the school, the team.
You are a raisin.
Dog.
Just amongst darkies. A raisin. Listen, this coach was raisined, okay? Got thrown in a box of raisins. You look no different.
Hey, so that's the premise. We was halfway through the conversation. I was like, God damn it, we forgot to record. So yeah, that's the background story. So
and it don't stop there.
Coach,
it don't stop there. So after the referee has a conversation with a certain coach,
referee maggot. I like to alter that and say referee maggot.
And so he sits down at the scores table. And if you know anything about sports, the scores table is
everybody got to see it.
It's an official capacity. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody got to see it.
I'm saying it, and that's where you conduct business. Only officials are allowed to do anything at the scores table.
Literally, everybody has to check in. All players, all coaches, all assistants, all referees have to check in at the scores table.
And so this guy, feeling as brazen as he does,
Trump 2020,
he takes out a Trump 2020 shirt. And
what color was it? What color was it?
It was like orange. I don't know if they got a new color scheme
was
over there
Donald
or what.
Trump orange.
Nah. Hey, it was literally day glow orange on a black table.
Yes.
With a black table cover that had black. It was all black with green writing USF on it. And your boy pull out a day glow orange.
And he put it over the USF logo.
Over the USF. Oh, what kind of how much symbolism do we need? Bro, this is not hyperbole.
We will not.
I got pictures and everything.
That's going to be the official picture of this week's episode.
So,
calling it.
So, he puts the shirt over the logo. And then, the parents were kind of taken aback because they remember this official that did this game back in February. I mean, they remember the same guy. Man. They know the antics that he's already pulled one time before. And so they're like, he's just antagonized. He's just basically just antagonizing once again because he's given the opportunity to continue to officiate these games.
Pleasure. My bad, Maxon. Hey, Maxon, special guest this week. You know what I mean? We're gonna get into reparations. Obviously, this microaggression. We're finna get into it, but that was a direct reflection of. Dang it! You just made me forget what I was gonna say trying to intro. Go ahead, Maxon.
So here's the thing, Pledge. Now, you just said something that, just got under my skin.
Right.
Because I got a baby girl on the way. Yeah. And so here's the thing. So now my child is observing your behavior. And so this is what's being planted in the seeds of these young athletes and these young girls and if they're young men that are present just as well, is that this is what authority looks like,
Yeah,
and this is what you have to adhere to.
I'm gonna take it a step further. Go ahead.
And so with that being the case, I'm not good with this because guess what, buddy? Last time you officiated this game, you were over here teeing me up. You tried to get me suspended, and so now what does this referee want these children to see? How me as a coach, I comply with your authority, which also has to transcend to you as a player.
Well, there's another message in that too. So,
yeah, it's cultural. It's deeper than that. It's deep.
His being permitted to perform at a completely separate stage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
FS, Florida High School Sports Association?
Yes.
Is where the high school was. Now, this is completely separate from that. This is like state university system.
Yes.
Two separate systems, right? So the kids see, okay, my coach is getting undermined. My coach has no power, a.k.a. women have no power. And then 2, I could be a white man and do something blatantly wrong by all accounts in history and still get no punishment. That is what white privilege is. We literally just watched this white dude walk in after committing one of the most atrocious things you could do and putting it on wax on the internet.
Yes.
And came right back and was like, bitch, I'm backing them better. Like the Trey Songz lyric.
Yeah, this guy cannot be back. Like he cannot return to officiating for this group, or maybe officiating in general at all.
No, listen.
This has to be documented.
Listen, if this dude come back again, he might walk in with an assault rifle.
Jesus wept.
Come on, bro.
Jesus wept.
First, you come in with the N-word, tech, trying to throw. It was probably the only black coach at the game, out the game, and out the season. Then you come back was like, okay, I'm back, and I know who coaching, because you know that's what it was. You know they see the docket before they have to coach.
Yeah.
They know the teams they coaching.
Yeah.
You motherfucker, you. Listen.
Heaven help us. Heaven help us.
He comes in with paraphernalia? Bro, you might as well should have came in with a Confederate flag.
Because guess what? He couldn't come in with a badge because he doesn't own one.
No, but he came in with...
And to reinforce his stripes, those referee stripes, he had to literally put an exclamation mark on his status as officiating or an authority figure. He had to put an exclamation mark on it. And that's what a lot of Trump supporters are doing. They're letting you know, I support Trump, exclamation mark, to why I am a dominant and or authority figure.
White privilege. We can't even get into the podcast and show love.
We will not bow down to racism.
I had a conversation last night with a sister, and she was reading this book about how black feminism should be displayed and how brothers haven't been the most staunch supporters of their struggle, right? And I, again, I don't know what their struggle is. I'm not going to pretend to know. I have some ideas, but I'm not going to, articulate what I think it means until me and her have this conversation that we'll, agreed to have, and she spelled it out for me. So I'm gonna let her tell me what that means. But I know she said she agrees with what the book was saying because she has not seen it being black men supporting their issues and their problems and their strife. She has not seen it in her own personal life. So I wanted to shout out to her, yo, this is exactly what I think this is what they want, right?
Yes.
Again, I don't know till she tell me, but I'm gonna play this for, hey, you're dead wrong. My dog jumped up there and handled the situation the way he needed to. My dog's an advocate, just like Maxon's.
You came to the rescue.
Myself. But tell us how you stepped up for the sisters and tried to take on the blows.
So,
My dog's throwing the cape.
So, as opposed to, just, antagonizing the situation even worse or whatever, I hit him where it hurts, in the pockets or whatever, right?
Right.
So I go out and I find the closest official and I say, hey, can you take me to your leader? I'm saying so. So they point me in the right direction of the head of officials for that weekend. I got the evidence on tap with my phone because I took pictures of the situation. So I go to the head official, show him the situation, say, hey, we got an official that I believe is antagonizing coaches, and I feel like he should be removed. The head of officials, he agreed with me. He sent not only himself, he came to the gym with me, but he also bought a replacement ref with him to make sure that the guy got off the court.
Cheers.
So as soon as the head of officials showed up to the game with the replacement official, they summons him off the court. The other official stepped in. I got not only the head of officials but the person that was running the tournament. Both of them came over to me to apologize personally, for what, the situation, saying that it was uncalled for, saying something that we should not have experience at the tournament. They thank us for coming to the tournament, hoping that we would, continue to return. But yeah, I mean, as I said, it was a guy that was, kicked off of this game. And from what I understand, we got our word that he will not be officiating any more basketball games in the state of Florida. That's what we got.
So, I didn't mean to cut you off. I know I talk a lot of crap about different ethnic groups, different white people. Listen, I got love for everybody that is willing to show love and acceptance.
If you vanilla, chocolate, butter pecan, we love you. We love you.
This is where the problem comes in. Everybody knows. Well, let me go back a step further. It should not have taken you, Pledge, to go to other people with the same set of eyeballs as you, for you to have it digitally recorded to say, hey, look at the hate speech that this dude is propagating. For them to be like, oh yeah, we should do something about this. This is the problem with everybody's having with white Americans, that even if they're not being bigots and racist, being silent. It should not take somebody to run up in your face with physical evidence that something is going down that you should be addressing before we have to do it. Like, you ain't the only person that saw the shirt. You ain't the only person that saw the hat.
I mean, in the team's defense, there was a parent of the team that went over to the gentleman and said that we're not here to make any political statements. And after he said that to him, the guy did remove the shirt. But by then, I was already on 100.
The fence had already.
I was already on 100, and so I was already thinking, putting the game plan into action, and going to get this squared away.
But let me say this, Pledge, and at some point you guys are going to talk about this, I'm certain. The situation and how you dealt with it, like literally, because incidents like this occur. We see it all the time. We see it in different formats. Social media has blasted all these incidents where, based on what we see, there might have been some racism, discrimination, or some power exercised incorrectly. And what you did was handle the situation. At another time, we have to have a conversation about how we deal with the situation, because what you did was different from what this other gentleman. He was on 10. You was on 100.
Yeah.
But the way you acted on 100 was significantly different. And a lot of folks when on 100 can't act as calculated, as strategic, and as, I guess for better lack of words, controlled, Correct. And this is where I think we've got to think about how we deal with, in quotation, the situation. Mm-hmm. We've got to separate, like my brother told me years ago, keep your eye before your ear, your intelligence before your emotions, check your emotions, and deal with this thing like you got some sense, Yes. Instead of, no you didn't, what, let him go, wait a minute, he only 16, what you doing? And we're only getting snippets, and we're seeing an extreme level of that. I know I might get some backlash for saying that, which is good that I'm a guest. But seriously.
I mean, what you're saying is right, because it's like a 5-headed dragon that we got to take down, right? We need advocates, not just people that's gonna be like, hey, after we tap them on the show to do something about it. You need to be just as aware as we are, because if you claiming that you ain't got nothing to do with this kind of bigotry that's happening in your environment, which was the same at this particular
white
instance.
People, we still need abolitionists.
Like, hey, exactly. Where the John Browns at? But anyway, that shouldn't happen. And then, although we have to go back and teach our kids in our community how to interact with that with as little as emotion as possible, it's still problematic that we got to teach people not to be incensed by something that's clearly a hate speech move.
Hey, facts.
Like,
facts.
I mean,
hey.
Like, we got to, we still, look, I ain't advocating no violence against people, but bro, this is why we're violent. You know what I'm saying? This is why kids don't trust. This is why institutions get completely disregarded in our communities, dog. Because we can't even go into a public space where sports is supposed to be a safe haven. You know what I mean? And we supposed to be able to be who we are and just be judged by our merits and our efforts. And then we still got cats coming in with hate speech, dog.
So check it out. Like, there's a concept I remember from my undergrad studies, community and communication. And I remember we were presented with the idea of the third place. The third place is an environment where everyone's on the same playing field. You go to the gym, it's a third place. because it doesn't matter if the person you're lifting weights with is an ex-con or a
don't.
physical therapist. You know,
don't. It
you know.
don't.
If you go to the bar, like remember the show Cheers, right? Everybody step in there. They're at the bar. Look, I'm about to take this this cognac and coke just like you know, and it doesn't discriminate.
Right.
Now, on that basketball court, in that environment where there's supposed to be a level of camaraderie, and it doesn't matter if that player or that athlete or that coach comes from a different household, a different background,
right.
you know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be a level. In essence, what I'm saying, that atmosphere, too, to some degree, should be a third place.
Right.
You know,
No doubt.
With patrons, with
usually
athletes.
is.
And so what we see at the third place is somebody who's still trying to exercise some dominance, and that's not supposed to exist
It
there.
ain't supposed to, bro.
Whether that coach owns a pickup truck, a Benz, or he catches the bus to get there, it doesn't even matter. But because now you feel inadequate in some way in your subconscious,
Right.
you have to flex over here with Trump 2020, and look what it do. Look what it did.
Listen, we ain't even got to guess. We know why he felt inadequate. He got checked. His power got checked back in February. He thought
During Black History Month,
Right.
Black Emphasis Month.
he thought he was gonna get out there and flex and just completely devalue this coach's existence and especially her authority. And then when it backfired, he felt some kind of way.
He mad at Carter G. Woodson for the
Like,
whole
come on,
month.
bruh. Like he obviously came in with a game plan. Like this premeditated, bro.
I feel you. I feel you on that. I mean, and to kind of go back on the sports thing about being in third place is I think that's one reason why African Americans have gravitated towards sports, because it has been an equal playing field for us to where the rules are exact and the rules are fair across the board. And we know that with an equal playing field, that if we put our talents, our hard work into something or whatever, we have the ability to succeed. And I think that's why we've always gravitated towards sports, because we know that the rules are clear and fair.
Right.
And in other sectors of the economy or in business, the rules might not be as fair. They might not be as clear. But in sports, a foul is a foul. No matter where you are, or traveling is more than 2 steps or whatever. And so that's one reason why we've always gravitated, because we know that this is one place where we're going to get a fair shake. Usually.
Let's keep it 100. The law in sports is equally disseminated, whereas the law anywhere outside of sports is not equally disseminated, bro. Like, we got laws in place that are supposed to do X, Y, and Z if certain atrocities or violations are committed. And we see time and time again where it don't happen.
And listen, after I say this, we might have to get off of this, man.
Nah.
But listen, because do you guys remember a couple of seasons ago in the NFL when the whole issue of the use of the N-word? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember?
Rich Cognito and what's his name? Something Riley for the Eagles.
No. If you remember, it became policy to enforce with the referees, the officiating staff, that should a player use the N-word, they could be penalized. You guys remember that?
No, I don't
penalty.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, the penalty to the use of the N-word in the game. Now Now I'm about to use the N-word a couple of times. Okay, I want you to give some notice, some preface here. Okay, because I remember growing up in sunny South Florida. In the back doors, in the back alleys, in the back fields of the ghetto, playing football, and I just remember growing up and using those N-words in formats similar to this.
Nike?
No, not Nike.
Nikon?
I remember a couple of times, you ain't shit, nigga. You know what I'm saying? On the football field.
Hey,
I'm
look.
coming for you, nigga. You know?
Yes.
And this was language because the sport is aggressive, and this was the language used. Now, granted, I didn't make it on the football team. Thank you to Abdul Haj for laying me out. But I remember the rhetoric growing up throughout life and knowing that language was used to accompany those actions, you know?
Yes.
And listen, even when we watch one of our favorite NBA players, Kevin Garnett, and we would watch the game, and we remember we wouldn't get the sound bites all the time, but if you read those lips, you knew, you know.
Ticket.
And so when the NFL tried to impose that policy, it was like, hold on, wait a minute now.
But who was that targeting though? Because you got to know, ain't too many Tom Brady's finna be out there yelling the N-word.
Tom Brady ain't gonna do it. Gronkowski ain't gonna do it. You know.
I mean, Richard Incognito, he did it. We see what happened. He just got another job.
Pac-Man might be saying it.
Yeah, but like if the league's 75% black people, and that's that word has been repurposed in our community just to be not even an expletive, but it's just like I mean, goddamn, it might as well be a what's it called? When the word sounds exactly how it's spelled. Onomatopoeia. Because it has the same effect as Batman punches somebody in the 60s show to go bam,
pow.
It's like I run you over, nigga. It's like the same thing. You know what I mean? I ain't offended. I'm just like, dang, this nigga hit me. You ain't mad. You just be like, that's the sound it make when you get dunked on.
And here's the funny thing, and afterwards, hey man, that was a good hit. Nigga.
Yeah, because you ain't even mad. I see me, but bro.
And of course, Kevin Durant. We remember when he crossed the line during the season, and I think he
the worst thing he did was say something about cereal to Carmelo about his wife.
That was Kevin Garnett, but Kevin Durant. When he called the referee, I think it was a ban, a bitch ass nigga.
Oh.
And so now, from now on, when you hear me say ban, ban fan, you already know I'm abbreviating something.
Hey, listen, bro. 25 minutes in, that we were incensed. I hate my dog had to go through this because the coach that it happened to is a associate of his. I guess would that be an associate? How do you describe that?
It's an association.
He trying to go out there and support. You know what I mean?
Moral
support.
I'm here for you.
Right. And then you got to see this happen.
I'm here for you.
Listen, man.
And now I have to act like a GM.
Nah, like it's just it's time out for it, bro. Like thankfully we had somebody that
pun intended. It is a timeout for that.
Yeah, it's time out because thank God somebody was willing to usher and exercise justice swiftly, because who knows what the outcome of the tournament would have been had this this official been allowed to continue to act in the manner he was acting, because you already knew where his viewpoint was coming from.
Yeah, facts.
Like he might as well have been betting on the outcome of the game. Come on, dude, you pulling punches. Anyway, episode 7.
Yes.
Hot. This just happened maybe 30, 40 minutes ago.
And we ain't talking about the temperature outside either.
Nah, man. It's like a juvenile record right now.
Oh, 100. Yes.
But, we initially came in with the discussion to be about the topic of the week was reparations and how it's been prominently displayed in the news this week. Maxon Victor is our guest. He's a practicing politician, history-making student at the University of South Florida. What, you were the third person of color to be student body president?
No, don't share that statistic. That's a little inaccurate.
You were the third.
I wasn't the third. I believe I was the 7th African American student body president.
Really?
Yes.
So between Tybee and you, it was 6 people?
No,
Les Miller was the first.
Les Miller, and then you go down a list of Alpha. You got Edna Rain, and there might have been
Alphas don't count.
We will not throw insult at this moment. But I was, I believe, 7th on that list.
That's either way, that's still an accomplishment. We got when the three of us was going to school, it was what, over 40,000 students?
Nah, not yet.
Yeah, it was.
No,
It was?
It was.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you know the accurate
Yeah,
statistics.
40,000, somewhere about 45,000.
Oh, wow. Didn't the campus have it, 30? Like, just kids that were registered to that campus were 30, right?
So and we know, of course, university systems, and so there was USF St. Pete and USF Lakeland at the time. And so, there was 45,000 in the Tampa campus, having the largest bulk of somewhere around 30,000.
Right,
and I was able to secure more than enough votes to become student body president, and that experience was one that will forever influence and shape who I am and how I go about things.
Hold up. I feel like I ain't trying to undersell the significance of my dog being nominated student body president. I'm finna make ESPN stats happen. He's the first he's the first Haitian American from Fort Lauderdale with dreads / rapper to be nominated student body president. I bet you can't beat that.
Listen. And you know what? I wasn't cutting those dreads off for anything. I wasn't cutting those dreads off. Listen, I was letting them things swing.
Hey,
even if they were itching at the roots, boy, I wasn't gonna cut them off.
Hey,
No doubt.
We finna undersell the importance and the achievement in that feat. So that's our guest this week.
Welcome to Mike T. Sharp, the podcast.
Thank you for having me, fellas. Thank you for having me.
Right.
Once again, B's been so hot at subjects that we can't even properly format the show.
We can't, bro. Like, come on, dog. I just stuff is important, dog. And I don't feel like certain things are good enough attention. I mean, nah, this ain't, you know, somebody being shot in the back by a cop, but do we need somebody to get shot in the back by a cop before we get agitated and motivated enough to get out and do something?
I think, and we're talking about reparations, and here's the reality, in my opinion. In my opinion, you know, and I have a unique stance on this. You know, first of all, you just indicated that, you know, I'm of Haitian American descent. Mm-hmm. So technically,
you gonna get a check, dog.
See, to that point, B.
You gonna get a check, dog.
To that point,
fuck that.
y'all can't pay the debt for you know what I'm saying, for Napoleon Bonaparte. You know what I'm saying? You guys can't front his bill too. That can't be realistic. Now, you two are obviously of African American descent. Growing up in Fort Lauderdale and growing up in a Haitian household, we say Black American. All right, we talk Black American. All right, and so your roots run uniquely different, because your roots run especially and specifically in America, as far as your ancestry from the lineage of slaves. Right, you know, right. And so if I'm looking at you two and I'm thinking, all right, reparations. Let's go ahead and look up this family tree. Okay, I see you are a Negro of American slavery descent, and therefore I'm supposed to issue what to you and the millions of families. Now, how in the world? Now, you have to explain to me how this even looks for me to give 2 whopping thumbs up. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, listen. We moving a little fast, but I will counter that by saying, God damn it, the entire world owes Haiti reparations. Because after y'all won independence, the entire world was like, well, damn that. We ain't doing no business with Haiti. Yo. But anyway, it's a separate.
We took another blow, but how do we and
too far in the weeds. We're gonna back up.
Back up, B.
Too close to the elephant to see the whole picture. So, minute 32. We're gonna take a little break. We're gonna come on back. We're gonna digest a little bit of this information, and we're gonna have y'all tune in with us. All right.
Where the paper at?
When he's sticking you and taking all your money.
Give me the loot. Give me the loot. I'm a bad. Give me the loot. Give me the loot. I'm a bad. Give me the loot. Give me the loot. I'm a bad. Give me the loot. Give me the loot. Give me the loot. Give me the loot. I'm a bad. Give me the loot. Give me the loot. I'm a bad. Give me the loot. Give me the loot.
Hey, we back, and these Negroes are talking about Adele's Hello versus Lionel Richie's Hello. I don't understand how we got here, but welcome back to the second segment.
We'll do some lyrical assessment when better time permits.
Yeah, when better time, because right now we ain't got time. But yeah, second installment. We just finished watching the opening testimonies for Senate Bill HB 40. Yeah, I think it's HB. Oh, anyway, H40. Yeah, Ta-Nehisi Coates' opening statement, Coleman Hughes' opening statement. Both guys making the case for whether reparations and Senate Bill 40 should be passed or not. Ta-Nehisi Coates is arguing that we should receive reparations based on 150 years of atrocities, injustices, disparities. And Coleman Hughes is saying, no, we don't need to give out reparations.
Because it re-victimizes.
Right. So fellas, I took down about 10 of his most outstanding quotes from Coleman Hughes' opening statement. I personally am for reparations. I do understand it's a very convoluted subject to kind of figure out who deserves what and who doesn't. We'll get through it, but I think the gist of Coleman Hughes' opening statement can be summarized with this quote. He says, "I'm not saying acknowledging history doesn't matter. I'm saying there's a difference between acknowledging history and allowing it to distract us from the problems we face today." Maxons, we give you first dibs on that quote. That's a summation of the entire debate.
Well, can you repeat the last thing you just said? That you quoted from Coleman Hughes.
You want the whole thing or just the second part?
The last second part you just said.
I'm saying there's a difference between acknowledging history and allowing it to distract us from the problems we face today.
Acknowledging history and allowing it to distract us from the problems we face today, that statement just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. And the reason why it doesn't work for me, because we have to acknowledge history and we have to use it as a measurement to deal with our problems, in my opinion.
Or we have to deal with history to figure out why we're in the situation that we are in today.
The word is reparations, right?
Yeah.
There's a root word in there.
Repair. Yeah.
You know, and so we have to acknowledge history. There's no way to repair if you don't acknowledge what's broken.
Right.
And so I feel that his statements, his comments, to some extent are invalid. As I stated earlier, you wonder who said it? It was me. Don't speak for me, bro. Don't speak for me. Because if anything, we're not just talking about giving out to millions of African Americans or descendants of slaves. We're talking about altering and improving systems. And if you know like I know, the action, the thought, the notion speaks volumes. So his theory that it won't fix or it'll cause more problems, better yet, it'll cause more problem situations. No, it won't. No, it won't. Because it's a matter of putting your money where your mouth is.
Okay. Hold on. Because you're getting into the weeds. We got a few outstanding statements that he made. Pledge, what's your reaction to the history is distracting us from facing our current problems?
I think history has created our current problems. So I think that that statement is wrong by, on his side. He started off the speech. I thought he was going down a good road, and then he just turned left all of a sudden with acknowledging things like mass incarceration and things of that nature, and how those are problems that need to be fixed. And I thought he was going to go down the road of, using, reparations or studies or something to that effect to address those problems. But that's not where he went. And I have a different take on it of reparations. I don't think it should be something that's individualized. I think it's something that should be, Maxon alluded to it, to fix systems that help people out. And I have an interesting question for you two brothers. I know me and you came into USF together, and I know that you came under a program that was meant to help first-time college students.
Right.
Do you think that's a current form of reparations or something like that? Is them kind of, working to, help boost us up a little bit?
No. Oh, y'all want me to say why?
Yes. That was a hearty no.
Honestly, man, I feel like the damage that was done with the slavery, Jim Crow era, Reconstruction period is far greater than just our education. And so to assume that only one institution was affected by those different periods would be a huge error, huge mistake, because there's multiple institutions that it takes multiple institutions for a person to become whole and well adjusted to society. So
Yes.
to say that, we gave y'all, this boost in one institution, y'all should be straight. That's a misleading statement.
I'm saying, but do you think it's a step in the right direction though?
Nah, because you put me in debt.
You know what? And I wanted to touch on that.
If they would have paid for the education, it would have been different as opposed to just introducing you to the education.
Can I ask Pledge a question? Pledge, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So if we think about after the Emancipation Proclamation, if we think about, Juneteenth, which we just celebrated, and we think about after 1865, but let's think about the Emancipation Proclamation. Let's think about, Amendment 13. What was supposed to be established based on the letter of the law?
Right.
What privileges, rights, and opportunity should have been afforded? Not considering Jim Crow and what actually happened, but what should have been afforded?
What should have? Oh, go ahead, Pledge, because I think he directed that to you.
I'm familiar with 40 Acres and a Mule. Voting. I'm not sure if that preceded the Voting Act.
And I hate to put you on the spot like you're a historian, but that's I'm guilty of that. But even your perception.
Yeah. That's my perception. That's what I'm saying. So it's more me learning in this situation. What you asked in the question. So,
but the 40 acres and a mule, like we all have heard that and we know that.
Yes.
So the notion or the theory of 40 acres and a mule is that you have adequate land and resources. You can
get adjusted.
Exactly. Not the projects, not project and public housing at reduced expenses. No, you have land that you own and resources to sustain what you have.
Yes.
And so to that question that you asked earlier, if we're talking about now putting money into programs that might fund first-time college students, or let's just say, boom, we're going to help you all get into the door and get an education. But we know the university education system is one where it's a business first,
right.
Yes.
And I'm not ashamed to say that, as I was given a student body president introduction. And I remember learning that significantly during my time on the board of trustees and being involved at USF. It's a business, and truthfully a business first.
Right.
And so we're talking about debt, we're talking about expenses, and we're talking about the fact that we're promoting something that doesn't necessarily translate to the best outcomes. Now, this is what I mean by that.
What's that something?
Because you may go to college for 4 or 5, 6 years, acquire 15 years worth of debt.
Right.
And then you might still struggle with progression and getting through the totem pole.
Right. Right.
And so here it is. We're still generations behind. Remember, we had a class together with Dr. Samuel Lamar Wright.
Dr.
Senior.
Samuel Lamar.
And I remember, and I still have this textbook in the home where it talked
Morning
about
Hand Report.
Yeah, and remember how we talked about how we're generations behind in prosperity and wealth and wellness.
Mm-hmm.
So granted, you and I get out of college pledge, we weren't granted the same amenities that the other side of the palm was able to receive, the inheritance and the resources. Because guess what? That 40 acres and a mule was made available for them because grandma and grandpa had it secured in the bag for them. But our grandparents didn't,
Let me, I'm gonna point out an interesting stat that I learned. So I know there's a lot of people out there that are conservative, quote unquote, and, they don't want handouts and all this different, rhetoric or whatever, aka they just don't feel like black people should be given anything else because they've gotten enough, right?
Yes.
So let's say we start from 2008, right? Let's just pretend
Obama got elected.
Let's just
Like the height of the recession. You tell me.
We just talking about
We get a bailout too. I just need to know what's
right
going on.
at 2008, right? So, we know what was happening in America at that time. That was the Great Recession, right?
Yes.
It wasn't a depression, but it was really close, by economic standards. And the wealth of tens of millions of people, maybe hundreds of millions of people, was reduced significantly, right? The group that was hit hardest by the recession was black people.
Facts.
All of our wealth was basically erased, right? So this wealth that people had generated from homes and going to college and saving 20, 30 years of working and employment was basically reduced to zero.
Antoine Walker, the Miami Heats and Boston Celtics. Remember how he owned so much property?
Yeah,
and with
yeah.
the recession, he lost out millions.
He lost it.
Yeah, exactly. So, prime example.
So let's even start from there, because we just, it's a lot of people, specifically Coleman Hughes, that loves to point out that since the 50s, before the 50s, we was basically equal because the differences and everything was so small that it didn't matter. Granted, we're talking about hundreds of millions of people, but he's looking at like 22% versus 22.9% in disparities between income and wealth equality or whatever. But if we just start from 2008, bro, to 2019, our wealth is still like a tenth of the wealth of that of white Americans.
And to my point B, and that's what I wanted to get on. So prime example, hence that 40 mules and an acre situation right there.
Nah, bro, I want 40 acres and 1 mule. You can have 40 mules.
Oh, my bad. 40 acres and 1 mule. I got a wrong state of mind right now.
That's still generous, though.
Yeah, that's still generous.
I get married to somebody real
All them
fine
mules,
afterwards,
baby.
yeah.
We got mules. No, but 40 acres and a mule. But to that point, so hence the recession hits, that's kind of the picture,
Yes.
That which we have, that which we own. But here's the thing. Am I losing that which I should have already had prior to that time and period? The interesting thing is that my father-in-law, I know my wife told me that he took a hit during that time too. Here it is, being progressive, owning his own business and making the right investment moves. But when he took that hit, he lost property, So here it is, thinking that you're getting ahead. And this is an interesting comment that they say in the islands, that when America sneezes, we catch a cold.
Right. Right.
And so that happens.
Or pneumonia or something like that.
Exactly. And so when that happened here in America, at the bottom of the totem pole, which unfortunately where we reside, when our economy sneezes, Negroes catch a cold. You know?
Yeah.
And so it's because we never had the defense or the immune system or the resources to keep us healthy or prevent that kind of outcome in the first place.
All right. Well, I mean, I know that I talked about maybe, systems kind of being my way of, if reparations were given out. I mean, what do you guys see as the ideal form? Is it a dollar amount? What do proper reparations look like to you guys?
So in France, with the Holocaust survivors in 2015, the descendants and some of the survivors of the Holocaust were given at least $40,000 individual checks, along with a card and said, "Sorry, we messed up by letting y'all catch a train into Auschwitz."
Yeah.
So France ain't even really, they wasn't actually physically harming anybody, but they were complicit by, again, letting their railroad system be used to transport Jewish residents into Germany, right? Mm-hmm. So France in 2014,
they had a hand in it.
Right. So France in 2014 was like, "Yo, we understand that what we did was this bad. Y'all deserve this amount of money and this statement." So if you were a physical survivor of the Holocaust, you got, I think it was $100,000 or $90,000. But if you were a descendant, which means an heir to somebody that died or survived it 75 years later after the incident, you still got $40,000. So here we are in America talking about Mitch McConnell saying, "Oh, that happened 150 years ago. Nobody that was involved at the time was alive." Bitch, we talking about stuff that happened in 1960, 1940. We can look at the redlining in, I think it was the North Dale neighborhood in Chicago, where they literally had these hustles going where people will own houses that were originally, it was a neighborhood that was originally owned by Jewish Americans that were generous enough and kind enough and had the foresight enough to say, "Hey, okay, we understand that the Jim Crow laws set y'all back quite a bit. We want to be a model to the rest of the nation and the state and the city itself. And we want black people to come in and live in our neighborhood so we can show what it's like to have a integrated society," right? So you had these families coming in the 30s and the 40s, these black families coming in and trying to buy property, right? Mm-hmm. And what was happening was people would come in and try to get these houses, and you would buy a house for $27,000 or $25,000, and you think you was doing the thing because you finally got access to one of the biggest ways to make money in this world, and that's real estate.
Yeah.
But come to find out,
that's the 40 acres.
Come to find out that these black families, they were being swindled because the houses, one, they were not for sale and the banks had nothing to do with it. Two, the people that were selling them the homes were the homeowners. Three, they even brought lawyers in to lie for the homeowners and pretend that the value was $25,000 when the home actually cost $12,000.
Wow.
So then let's take it a step further. So now you just flat out robbing people, right?
Facts.
Here's another step. Let's say you gave the people the house and you wasn't gonna buy them no more after you gave them the house. You're like, "Okay, I robbed you for $12,000 or $15,000. I'm gonna let you slide. Go ahead and enjoy this house. You can live in my house. I got another house. You paying for my other house." Make it so bad that if people missed a single payment, they would take their down payment of $1,000 and then they would erase all the prior payments and say, "You have to start completely from scratch and paying me the $25,000 that you owe for my house."
And that is criminal.
And the banks had nothing to do with it. The banks knew nothing about it because why? The houses were never for sale.
And let's talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma. Let's talk about Greenwood.
Honestly, I just feel like I don't even want to go back that far because people just swear it was that was 100 years ago. It don't matter.
People want to say that was 100 years ago, but we're talking about after slavery, after the Civil War. And here it is. We're
talking World War II, the greatest generation alive.
Yes, World War II.
America.
And we're talking about now literally an entire black community building themselves to heights and prominence, and a community now with an infrastructure. I'm not asking you to give me a free ride to college. That's not it. Because what I've learned, Pledge and B, is that I can become a skilled electrician in half or a quarter of the time and see a lot more prosperity. You know, I can do a sprinkler system installation in homes and make a lot more money. I could be a plumber and earning a lot more money, you know? So let's not think that sending us off to 4-year institutions has now given us the window of opportunity. No, us having skill set, trades, and businesses and property, you know? Think about how many successful businesses that we have here in America that aren't based on folks who attended college for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. You know, that's the reality. And so don't tell me that sending me to college, to your question, Pledge, sending me to college is going to be the keys I need to success. No. Because even then, you won't give me, what you're going to give me are some keys to debt. Right. And then you're institutionalizing me even further.
It's a debt machine at this point, man.
Oh, yeah. And don't get me wrong. I value tremendously going to college and becoming educated. There were things I learned in the classroom and things that I learned amongst my peers, things that I learned from conversations just like this. And the truth of the fact is, I may not have had those conversations if I didn't go to college. That's facts. That's facts.
It's possible.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
But the 40 acres we never got. And because in thinking about those Holocaust descendants,
not survivors,
descendants.
I'm talking about kids and grandkids.
Just think about what we could do if we were awarded $40,000.
Look at this. Let me
businesses, investments.
Let's look at this.
Combine if the three of us even combine our funds and we bought a property or rental property, and
it became an investment group.
REIT.
We couldn't even run the scam that they ran in North Dale in Chicago, because we'd be all under investigation with federal paperwork. Like, let's say y'all, the three of y'all, like y'all 3 homeowners, right? Well, Jarrell in the room, but he ain't on the mic. But y'all 3 homeowners, and then y'all decided to run that exact same scam and tell people that they own a house, and the house costs $75,000. Somebody gonna be like, oh, this will come up. Or let's say even said 100, right?
Yeah.
And then these people been paying you 10, 15 years. They miss a payment or they late, and you be like, oh, I'm finna reset your debt. Who in the world is gonna let us? If we reset it by a quarter of that, who gonna let that run? So we have so many examples on this side of 1950, on this side of 1940, on this side of 1930, after the recession, that proves, it's still not an equal playing field. Like, I was looking at the stats about the 2008 recession, right? White Americans were affected, and their debt was increased by 31%. Cool. Black families, their debt was increased by 40%. So again, according to Coleman Hughes, that's not a big enough disparity to be like, oh, we need to fix the country.
Coleman Hughes don't speak for me, bro.
Please
don't speak for me.
This what the statistic is when it boils down to actual person by family dynamics, right? So let's say somebody like your boy Seal, who's out here, spitting all this rhetoric. Seal's income would be reduced by his potential earning
who's
income.
Seal, the single with the dented face?
Nah, it's a dude who went to college with, who was come from the same kind of background as I do, in a very adverse situation, but he happened to get a scholarship. And once he got that scholarship, he kind of went Lil Wayne mode. I don't know if y'all know about that Lil Wayne story where Lil Wayne, they had like a drug raid at the house. The cops came in, and the cops were like shooting in the house, and Lil Wayne got shot. And his homeboys ran out the house on him. And then a cop who happened to be white actually went in and was like, oh, we hit a kid. Let's take him to the hospital.
I thought Lil Wayne shot himself.
Whatever, either way. But after getting shot and getting medical attention from the cop, he was like, oh, racism must not be real. So his entire life has been, oh, black people ran away from me and white people saved me, so racism must not be real. Well, I like to equate that to Seal. Seal got a scholarship from the Tangelo Projects. And ever since then, in some other situations, he's starting to feel like, oh, well, if I can make it, you can make it. Nah, bro, you got a huge handout based on the neighborhood you was living in.
And you talking about Coleman Hughes, Mr. Ivy Leaguer, who he divulged that,
Right.
And here's my thought process to even his mindset.
Oh, I ain't finished the stat.
Go ahead.
I ain't mean to cut you off. According to the ACLU, by 2031, the average American, the Black American households, they will have lost $100,000 that they would not have lost if the recession in 2008 hadn't hit.
Wow.
Whereas a white American would only see a 13% reduction in what they could have earned. So I still don't care that people are like, oh, well, slavery was 200, 150 years ago. We're still adversely affected. We're 13 times more likely to be in debt than white Americans are. And what's the cause for that? Because my ex-girlfriend did a...
Jordans.
Yeah. See, Anyway, my ex-girlfriend, she was a public health major, right? And she did a study in graduate school that was like if a black woman and a white woman had the same exact job, lived in the same size house for the same amount in the same neighborhood, the life expectancy for the black woman would be a lot less than the white woman. Who can tell me why that was?
All I keep envisioning is the mama on Crooklyn. Please explain to me.
Who can explain what the differences are? Because these aren't fabricated numbers. These are numbers purported by a medical professional. Anybody want to take a guess at what the difference is?
I'm trying to think.
Same job. Oh no, same job, same neighborhood, same age, same house, same cost. Life expectancy is different. Why is that?
Because of Tyrone. I'm just trying to.
Are you gonna blame the spouse? Okay, so the spouse. Okay.
I'm trying to think. Listen, I'm thinking about.
I mean, what results from the study?
The reason that the life expectancy is different because the women have to deal with different socioeconomic influences. So even though they have all the same financial situation, their financial profile is exactly the same. The racism is literally killing the black woman.
Oh, wow.
So there's something called emotional weathering and erosion that literally. So let's say the traumas that you and I might experience.
I'm mad you waited that long to tell us the answer. He had us looking real stupid, Pledge.
I felt like
I was in third grade again.
That's why I didn't attempt to answer.
Hey man, don't make me feel so dumb again. But go ahead,
my bad,
keep going, man.
But anyway, dog, we just got data, dog. We got data for days, and then we have these quotes sitting here by Coleman Hughes that's sitting up here representing a segment of black people in America and saying stuff like black people don't need another apology. We need safe neighborhoods, better schools, less punitive justice system. That might be true, brother, but that's extremely nearsighted, dog. Like you're too close to the elephant to see the whole thing. Back the F up so you can see the entire picture, bro.
Coleman, don't speak for me, bro. Because the fact is, and it's not to say that those concerns aren't valid, but the fact is that the individual households are damaged. You know, let's talk about. Yeah, it'd be great. The fact is we don't own those homes in that community we live in. You know, the fact is gentrification happens at an alarming rate.
Yep.
You know, we don't own businesses in the context of brick and mortar. When it comes to African Americans, we're more consultants, and we operate from neutral sites, and we don't even have the commercial property in many cases. And so you can't tell me about these other things and overlook the fact that, I'm sorry, we need it in our pockets. We need it in our pockets, and we need the choice to make investments and make moves, not being swindled, not being robbed, not being denied. Because if the three of us were each awarded $40,000, in theory, in consideration of your point about those Holocaust descendants, I'm pretty confident we can identify a good means and a good plan to propel our families and the generations to come. If we had those seeds. Master P did it with $10,000 in a record store. Remember?
Right.
Shout out to the No Limit Soldier.
That's an exceptional story. How many Americans do we know experience that? Like I was going to start a food truck 3 years ago, but I got dragged down by the fees associated with just processing my paperwork. It was $700. I didn't have $700 extra dollars laying around besides my everyday bills to submit an application. I just had to put $700 down just to submit an application. That wasn't even to get the equipment that I needed that was required for me to complete the application.
And you know what? And I think what's overlooked, and I can hear folks saying right now, get over it.
Can't get no loan.
Work hard.
Though. Can't get no loan.
Do what you got to do. I remember watching that James, and shout out to James Brown. I love James Brown, but we were watching that documentary the other night.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember how we were watching how he almost had a message that was like, you know, get up and get ahead kind of concept. You know,
I don't want nobody.
Just work hard.
Give me nothing.
But James, but Brother Brown, how hard and grueling and overwhelming did your life have to be for you to internalize and develop that work engine that got you further ahead? Like, how much disparity and hardships did you have to experience for you to hunger, you know?
Right.
You know, I love a lot of our female artists and entertainers and whatnot. But the fact is, Cardi was on a pole. Katy Perry and Taylor Swift didn't have to, dare I say, sell themselves out as much just to get ahead. And this is no shots at Cardi B, because I don't think she's ashamed of her background and what she's done. But, I don't think she's also geeked and excited about the fact that you can easily see those images of her before she became a multi-million selling recording artist, but you won't see that with Katy Perry, even though she'll tell you I kissed a girl and I liked it. You won't see that with Taylor Swift with her fake Beyonce drum line. You won't see that,
Hey, what you used to say about when a black person and a white person are doing the same illicit activities, let's say drugs or something like that, alcoholism, while they're in college? We ended up making it a lifestyle, whereas it was just a phase.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I think a lot of things we do, we make it, who we are as opposed to something we do. And there's a big difference. Like just the alcohol thing. Somebody could drink alcohol without being alcoholic.
Right.
And so.
But how do they? What I think you say something about it. It takes like something to pull them out of it or something, like to help them or stop them. Or somebody or something like that.
I mean, if it is something, it slipped my mind right now. But as I said, I do think that some of the things that we do, we tend to take them to the extreme, as opposed to just making it one particular part of ourselves. It seems to be all encompassing sometimes.
Right. Is there an expectation for us to outperform to get ahead? Because I believe low key that's what it is.
What do you mean that twice as good and half as black?
We have to, yeah. We if you want to say that, however you want to coin it or word it,
the black tax.
Yeah, we have to outperform to get ahead. Mm-hmm. And that's not fair.
And meanwhile, they walk around with the mediocre white man syndrome, right? Mm-hmm. We're gonna put the pictures up, but there's a movement online that affects everybody except for white dudes. People make T-shirts and memes that say, "Every time I wake up in the morning, I pray, dear Lord, to give me the confidence of a mediocre white dude, or the privilege of a mediocre white dude."
I'm gonna say something, and a shout out to my good friend Ivy Box. Ivy once told me that, Maxon, just act like you belong here. And so I remember some years ago, there was a spot or something I was trying to get into, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if I can get in there." And Ivy said, "Just act like you belong here. Walk up there like you belong there." And that ran through my mind, that sense of, no, I belong, acting like you belong here,
Entitled, man.
But my boy, shout out to the principal of Carter G. Woodson, K through 8, Ovette Wilson. He once told me that we have the burden of suspicion. And that's the hump that is so hard to get over, that we operate. And here's the thing too. And at times even being treated that way, we have the burden of suspicion. I got pulled over the other day, right? And it's because I'm wearing these Direct Smile liners. And so I went to Wawa and I had a smoothie with the Direct Smile liners in. You're not supposed to do that. They tell you don't eat or drink anything with the liners in your mouth. But I needed this smoothie and I neglected to take the liners out. And so what do I do when I'm at the light? I have a bottle of water. I hang the liners out the door and I kind of pour the water on the liners while the door is open. And so the light turns green. I close the door. I'm already buckled up. I drive and I bend the left. But the minute I bend the left, the lights are on me. Well, when I get pulled over, I'm thinking, what just happened? The officer thought that I threw up or I was ill. And this is the first time I've been pulled over in years. And so what do? In my mind, I'm processing and I'm trying to think quickly too, Pledge. I'm trying to think quickly.
Call Judy Ginshaft.
and Judy Ginshaft is now retired from the University of South Florida. So Judy couldn't save me. But at that point in time, I'm thinking, man, okay, Maxon. Here's what I'm telling myself. Maxon, you ain't do nothing wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. I know I'm not riding dirty. I've got nothing illegal in my vehicle. I'm buckled up. The lights are on. Ain't no busted tail lights on the 2017 that I'm driving. Mm-hmm. And so what do? I don't turn the car off. But I do put one arm out the vehicle, like I put the arm out there, and then I just noticed me putting the other hand close to the arm that's already out and kind of looking out, out the vehicle. And I'm like, oh. And I thought about it afterwards, like, Maxon, you did that because you didn't want an issue. And I couldn't help but do that. And so she was like, are you all right? Are you okay?
That's called what, though? What we talked about last episode, Pledge, where he just tried to do something to disarm their fear of him.
Well, it's part of the double consciousness, but it's also,
it's the burden of suspicion.
Yeah,
it's the burden of suspicion.
You tried to behave in a manner that says, I'm not a threat to you.
Yeah.
You go out of your way to make them comfortable.
Extra comfortable.
Yeah.
You make yourself uncomfortable to make them comfortable.
Right.
And so the officer comes and I explain, hey, no, I was just pouring water on my liners. I wasn't throwing up. That wasn't liquor. You know what I'm saying? She's like, oh, okay, all right, man. And I was clear to go. But then I had to assess my behavior when I rode off. Of course, I didn't want any hostility. And I know I wasn't in the wrong for anything. Yeah. But I noticed the small things that I did because of the burden of suspicion. Mm-hmm. So going back to that referee, that officiant that had to put that 2020 Trump shirt hanging out there, like he wants us to operate on pins and needles in his presence.
Yeah.
It ain't just it's just that's the normative white gaze. Again, that's a system that people adopt when they move to this country or born into our society, where they assume that everything that white people do is the way things should be working. And so when they do that, they start to look at everything else that isn't white and say that you should adopt the same culture and practices and behaviors that we have. And if you don't, then there's something wrong with you. And that is why we see a lot of people that even if they're not white, but they still come to the country and still look at black people as inferior. But that's a sad situation where you had to adopt the normative white gaze just so that you could feel like you were protecting yourself.
Bottom line, they got to find a way to put it in my pockets. Put it in our pockets, better yet.
Hey, but Coleman Hughes said reparations make me a victim without my consent.
When has a victim ever given consent to be a victim?
Thank you.
Hello, somebody.
Players, you know anytime a victim gave consent to be a victim?
Coleman, crack is whack. Are you on
consent, you're not a victim. You like
Maxon said he... I don't know, though. Does anybody know of a situation where somebody consented to being a victim?
No, never.
So I love my dog. He was real eloquent in what he was saying, but he was a dumbass.
Yeah.
I mean, to be long and short of it.
He into SNL.
Yeah.
So back to my original question, that both of you guys have taken a long roundabout to answer.
I said no, though.
So is it there a dollar amount? Is it, as I said, I think it should be through education system, mental health system, loans.
Loans. Let's go with loans.
Nah, I remember good.
Or loans.
Things of that.
I feel like
there'd be first time home buyer situations, things like that.
I got the perfect thing.
I think that's how
home buyers
it should be.
So I would say I like some of your ideas.
Small business ideas, things like that.
I'm gonna take it a step further.
Loan forgiveness,
you ain't got
home acquisition, first time home.
But you ain't. Let's say this. Let's say you don't give us no money because it'll upset the balance of the economy. All that BS, right? I'm assuming that's right, even though we could dismantle that, but we ain't got time.
We ain't even asking for a bailout though.
Yeah, no.
We asking for a pitch in.
This what I'm asking for.
You got to pitch in first before we can even bail out.
This my idea that I had when we was talking about it earlier.
A light bulb.
Waive all fees associated with entrance into certain institutions. So, for example, I should go to college for free. No, don't cap. I
got something better.
Don't cap the amount of time that I could spend on my degree. Amount since y'all flat out stealing homes from us. We shouldn't have to pay certain fees. We should be able to live in an untaxed house, untaxed mortgage. An untaxed mortgage, right?
Can we get the listen?
I ain't
love
saying,
to my Native Americans. Can we get the no taxes?
No, that ain't good enough, dog. That ain't good enough.
You sure? Because we pay a lot of.
Listen, bro.
That would make white America real uncomfortable. Oh, no taxes. Oh, wait a minute. That'll ruffle the feathers right there. No taxes, pledge.
No taxes. But our injustices were suffered. I mean, it's not it ain't a. What they call it?
Tax evasion is worse than being a drug dealer, man. I'm telling you, bro.
What's the it's some kind of Olympics, but it's like a atrocity Olympics anyway. But I'm not comparing what they suffered to what we suffered. I just want to raise the fact that I don't think there's been any other situation in the history of the planet where people reduced the chattel property for 250 years, then afterwards subjugated to second-class citizenship for another 140. Come on, bro. Like, at no point since we've been here have we been given a fair shake.
Yeah.
So I'm saying waive all fees and transactional obligations for entrance into these different institutions. We should get free health care. And I ain't just talking about physical health care, emotional health care. We shouldn't have to pay taxes on homes. We shouldn't have to pay, like, we'll still pay a mortgage.
Why do I feel like I need folks to message us with the top 3 on their list?
I'm going to make a quiz on Facebook.
Yeah, we have to survey this because I'm saying no taxes, no student loans.
I'm with all of that.
And I'm saying, no student loans, no taxes, as well as 40 bands because I need to go ahead and get this food truck up and going for my boy. That's all I'm saying.
So you want to,
or I need to go ahead and have that $40,000 for that house that I'm about to get into. That's what I'm saying.
So players, what's your suggestion? That's mine. Mine is waive fees in the entrance.
Like I said, I think things like that, like institutional things. I mean, me having somewhat of a financial background or whatever, if you're bad with what you already got, adding another check to it won't really improve your situation.
I agree to that. That's management.
But I think that if there are some institutional systems to where things that help create the level playing field, things like education, like you say, whether it be, scholarships and, where you get an education, but you also eliminate the debt. I mean, I think that's a perfect situation.
I don't even think again, this is my proposition. College should be completely free for me. You should treat me like I'm a scholarship athlete. And then in addition to that, I should have no additional obligations. And I should still be allowed to take out loans. I should still be able to take out scholarships. I should be able to get free health care. I should be able to get tax-free home mortgage rates. I should be able to get these are what other institutions will we rob though? Because I'm going hospitals, home ownership, and education. Is there any other? But never mind the fact that we started the Freedmen's Bank right after being freed from slavery, and we amassed millions, tens of millions of dollars in this Freedman Bank, and white people literally came in and said, forget y'all, forget everything that you deposited in this banks. We're taking your money and we're spending it in other places. Every time we tried to do something the right way, according to the game that they set up, they literally came and was like, F y'all, we don't want to be fair to y'all no more. We're taking all the money that you put in this bank. And then gave us no apologies or anything afterwards.
Oh, apparently they gave us an apology in 08 and 09, but no. That wasn't adequate and sufficient because that wasn't for what it needed to be. I don't want another sorry. And players, to your point, you said something along the lines of, if you're already bad with what you got, that ain't for you to decide. That ain't for you. Put it in my pocket and let me do what I need to do.
and then reduce what it is that I have to pay out once I get it.
Yeah, it ain't for you to determine what's good and what's bad.
I'm just saying, but I just think that if there's going to be a progression, though, I think that no matter what somebody, you want to be efficient with what you do get, you do what is.
So you're saying we should get free training with the money that we're going to be given?
That'd be a good idea.
So again, give me the money and don't tax me for shit else after I get it.
You ain't gotta train me on nothing.
I mean,
Google is my friend.
Hey,
okay, I'll figure out what to do with it.
I'm with it, but I'm just saying I feel like everything should be given. Listen, because give me my check, just like France gave somebody a check for something they was so far removed from, even though they let somebody use their railroad system, and then they paid somebody that was 75 years removed from the situation. Come on, man. We still 65 years inside of the Northdale situation, and that is not the only situation place that happened.
Being pledged, I'm telling y'all right now, if you gave me money, if you gave me a guap of money, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I don't have to worry about you taking my money. Meaning that if you give me 40 bands, I'm talking streets right now. You give me 40 bands, and I know you got 40 bands, and you got 40 bands, B, and Kendra got 40 bands, and my brother got 40 bands. First of all, I ain't worried about y'all stealing my bands. All right. True. That's facts.
That'll eliminate a lot of.
When we do sit down, I'm pretty confident there's enough intuition, enough education, there's enough resources for us to figure out
What to do with
them 40 bands.
Yeah.
In fact, the cousins that we got that may not be as wise probably gonna call us, hey, what you about to do with yours?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. I mean, but I can speak for my personal situation. What's more valuable for me and my family? Would it be an additional $40,000, or would it be access to start a small business? As far as,
First of all, we all have those shower dreams. I'm not talking about a wet dream. I'm talking about like it's like daydreaming in the shower. We all do that. What if I won this amount of money in the shower? That's why I do it all the time. I'll be in the shower thinking about, man, what if I won? What if I got a scratch off for $30,000? What if I won $50,000? You know what I'm saying? Like, we all have those moments where we're processing. What will we do if I came up on?
So, Pledge, I know this dude that would say no matter what problem is you have in your life, having more money would make it easier to deal with.
yes,
50 Cent once said,
I'm saying. I mean, as I said, I'm saying that
You don't want
40
free college.
G's wouldn't change.
You,
Change anything.
you wouldn't rather have that 40 G's in your pocket for your two sons' college experience?
I mean, 40 G's wouldn't pay all the way through for my. I mean, it would be nice to have.
Your kids
but
are
what I'm
going
trying
to
to say is that it's not, that's not going to move the needle for me.
Right, but your
What's
kids are going to go to
move the needle for me is
free access to health care.
yeah. I'm saying
And
it's
education.
like that.
Yeah.
If I had a choice between $40,000 or free healthcare for the rest of my life, I would take free healthcare for the rest of my life.
But you're going to get both of them, though.
Well, I'll take both of
You're
them.
gonna
What I'm
take
trying to
both of
say
them.
is that I think there's a value thing to where certain things are more valuable to different people.
Yeah.
And so I think when you're talking about trying to make good for everybody, I think there has to be collective opinion on what's valuable for everybody. Like, I think there was, I don't know who put it up, but there was this thing that I saw on some social media platform to where it was like 9 different boxes. Like, one of them was free healthcare for life. One of them was a free house. One of them was like a brand new car. And you had to pick 2 of the 9. And then people like selected, but everybody had something different for what was more valuable to them. And I think if you picked the house, you couldn't move.
You couldn't move, yeah. You had to stay in the house for the rest of your life or something
for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So somebody who values mobility or whatever, you get a free house, but you're stuck in that house for the rest of your life.
Right.
And so those terms are a bit extreme. I would say it may be about 5 years. I think, and I can attest to that because I'm a first time home buyer, and I remember going through that process.
Yeah.
And they said, "Hey, don't be trying to run anything within the first 5 years." I can't do anything, or I couldn't do anything. I'm past my 5 years, but I couldn't sell the house out or anything of that nature within that first 5, and respectfully so. And so to that point, Pledge, to that point, put it in my pocket. Oh, give me the options, Yeah.
Let me know what my options are.
Yeah,
That's what I would say.
Yeah,
but I would say but certain things are more valuable to me than just writing me a check.
Because guess what? A lot of brothers wouldn't go to the army now trying to come out with that Camaro. Like, these are like...
That is the number one car for...
Hey.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
For the brothers of the complexion, here's a list. So we have 8 options, right? And then it's like a tic-tac-toe board.
Yeah.
And in the center of it says pick 2. And then you have number 1 is 10 grand immediately in your hand. 2 is brand new house, but you can never move, never sell it. Number 3, unlimited medical care for life. 4 is free mortgage and rent for 6 months. 5 is brand new luxury car, but you can't get rid of it. 6, perfect credit score. 7, unlimited airline tickets for life. And 8, free groceries for 5 years.
That ain't good.
I already know what I'm doing. I'm going free healthcare and unlimited airline tickets for the rest of my life.
I mean, yeah, but
That's me though.
So that's what I'm saying. So different. So I don't think there's one thing that's going to make everybody happy. I think that's the point that I'm trying to make here.
Yeah.
And so,
but that's why it takes a trust.
Maybe if we could present the options, and then maybe
if that 10,000 cash was bumped up to 40, that would be a pick.
But then, I mean, I actually like
perfect credit score. Not that important. Ask Donald Trump.
Right.
Free healthcare. That sounds good.
I would take.
I think I'd pick the house and the healthcare. I think those are the ones that.
Listen, the house. If I get the house, first of all, if my mama live in the house, does it have to be me living there forever? Can my mama stay there, and I can just move up like George and Weezy? Because I might want that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good, but Anyway, man, this obviously is a conversation that could go on endlessly. These are only 3 people speaking on the information, and we've been going for 45 minutes.
And like always, we want you guys' opinion as well on what you guys think about the subject. and what you feel would be the top priorities to kind of right what's been wronged.
Shout out to the 83 subscribers to the page on Facebook.
83 was a very good year.
I think we can all say that. It would be nice to hit 100 by July. You know what I'm saying? Just asking y'all help us out. But even more than that, man, y'all interact with us, man. Let us know what y'all think of what we're doing. Is it easier if we would post the episodes on any particular format or platform for you? Are you not listening because you can't find it, or are they too long? Do you want video? Shout out to one of my friends that let
What more do you want from me?
Yeah, like hit us with the Tyrese. What more do you want from me? All right, but anyway, enjoy your week. I'm gonna try to get this up for y'all as soon as we can, man.
Thanks for having me, fellas.
Yeah, we
sure.
definitely want to show love to Maxon Victor, the first Haitian American with dreads and
Shout
a
out to my
rap
friends that are
contract.
Black American.
Yeah. To be student by the president. Shout out to Kendra for letting us borrow his mixing board for the day.
Thank you, Kendra. I don't have dreads anymore.
Hey, see y'all.
God bless.
Yes, sir.
Move everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo. Cash moves everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill,